on this platform. I would like to share my PowerPoint first. Okay, as I told you that I'll be reading from my paper. I hope no one will be disturbed by this. Good afternoon. I welcome you to my seminar on Christian-Muslim relation in Pakistan. In this seminar, I will try my best to share some insights from a study on Christian-Muslim relation conducted in Peshawar city, my hometown. Before we begin, I would like to let you know that during this presentation, I will be referring to my paper while following the slides to ensure accuracy and provide you with comprehensive understanding of the topic. Pakistan is a Muslim majority country where different religious minority groups have been living since its independence. Islam is the official religion, which is observed by 96.03% of the population. Christian minority makes up 1.27% of the total population. They play an influential role in different walks of life and contribute to the prosperity and development of the country. The white color of the flag signifies the existence and importance of its religious minorities. The founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, on 11th August 1947, in his inaugural speech regarding minorities said, "You are free to go to your temples, you are free to go to your mosque or to any other places of worship in the state of religion." It is due to that assertion that religious minorities are living and observing their religious practices freely in Pakistan. Moreover, the Constitution of Pakistan enshrines equal rights for minorities in the country. Article 20 of the Constitution is about the religious freedom. It says every citizen shall have the right to profess, practice, and propagate his religion. Every religious denomination and every sect thereof shall have right to establish, maintain, and manage its religious institutions. All citizens are equal before law and are entitled to equal protection of law. However, the existing literature often portrays Christians in Pakistan negatively, showing that they are treated poorly, excluded from the society, and considered untouchable by the Muslims. To check such claims, we conducted an extensive survey in Peshawar, focusing on how Christian and Muslim interact in their shared neighborhoods, the threats Christians face from the Muslim majority, and whether Muslims truly consider Christian as untouchable. This seminar aims to share the findings of this research and encourage meaningful discussion. It will address important questions such as, to what extent Christian-Muslim interact in their shared neighborhood in Peshawar? Do Christians face any threat or challenges from the Muslim community of Peshawar? Do Muslims perceive the Christian as untouchable? This seminar is going to provide a fresh perspective on Christian-Muslim relations in Peshawar by analyzing the empirical data that we collected. A considerable body of literature is available on the condition of Christians in Pakistan, which generally present a negative impression. According to some reports, the marginalization of Christians exists in the whole social system. They are discriminated against, mistreated, and threatened everywhere in Pakistan, and that the public at large is responsible for their miserable condition. Gregory asserts that Christian persecution in Pakistan gained momentum following the event of 9/11. He contends that oppression and mistreatment of Christians are widespread, spanning from Karachi to Peshawar. Gabriel concludes his study In these words, the state of Christian-Muslim relation in Pakistan seems to present a bleak picture. Additional studies suggest that the overall attitude of Muslim towards Christian is negative and that Pakistani Muslims consider them untouchable due to their lowest social status and backward caste before conversion to Christianity. Conversely to this, another group of scholars assert that the Muslim-Christian relation has improved and majority Pakistani Muslims are tolerant and support equal rights for religious minorities. According to Moeller et al., the overall Christian-Muslim relations have improved since 9/11. They contend that the media tends to highlight specific events selectively, framing them in a manner that fosters negativity towards Christian among the general public. While they acknowledge violent attacks against Christian minorities in some Muslim countries, they argue that such crimes occur globally, even within the most liberal societies, such as the United States, where Muslims face prejudices and aggression from certain segment of the population. Similarly, Shamsi's PhD thesis on the social status of Christian in Pakistan concludes that the overwhelming majority of Pakistanis are tolerant and advocate equal rights for minorities. Afzal has found that the Pakistani Muslims think that they treat religious minority perfectly well and acknowledge that religious minorities are equal citizens of the country. Some researchers have also found mixed attitude towards religious minorities. Khan and Rafi, they conducted a study in KP, and they concluded that KP, a province of Pakistan, is the safest province for all the religious minorities in Pakistan. Hussain contends that the organizations advocating for the rights of religious minorities have chosen to employ a rhetoric that defends Pakistan and its society. These groups and individuals are accused of creating and spreading false information without revealing their sources, which has resulted in damaging Pakistan's reputation and attracting global criticism. According to the author, these reports heavily rely on vague and untrustworthy journalistic sources in order to support their own narratives. This study was conducted in 2021 by a professor of Qaeda University, which is in Islamabad, and he concluded in these words. Now, the untouchability. The most awkward form of discrimination and social exclusion is the practice of untouchability. This belief system labels certain people personally impure and polluting, but also renders those who physically come in contact with the supposed untouchable provisionally impure and unclean until they purify themselves ritually. One of the main contributing factors behind this social reality is the Varna, in a caste system, which has its root in the Vedic literature. According to the Vedic literature, there are 4 social classes: the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. Other scholars have theorized that this system of social stratification was in practice in the free Brahmanic ancient Indus Valley civilization, where the poor sanitary workers were segregated and banned from the cities. Though Shudras have been placed at the lowest stages of this social hierarchy, they are still a part of the Varna system. The people with Avarna, no caste, are considered impure, polluting, and for that matter, untouchable. To understand such prevalence of negative behavior, one must understand the social composition of the Christian community in Pakistan. Pakistani Christians can be divided into 2 main social classes: the elite Christians and those belonging to the lowest strata of the society. During British rule, The Christian missionaries failed to successfully convert the middle and elite classes in northern India, which compelled them to focus on the conversion of the untouchable Hindus. A mass conversion to Christianity in Punjab took place between 1880 and 1930 CE. This conversion was among members of the Chuda caste, which was one of the most deprived and despised section of the rural poor. The Chuda caste, most of whom were untouchable, sanitary workers, converted to Christianity in large numbers, making them more than 90% of the Christians in Punjab. However, this achievement of missionary came at the cost of stigmatizing the image of the Christian community in Punjab, as the Christian identity became equated with the Chuda class. The elite Christian, the descendant of the Gawanis Christians, and the descendant of the high caste Muslim and Sikh converts during the colonial period form an exception to that stigmatization. However, it seems astonishing when considered against the commonly known teaching of Islam about human equality and inherent human dignity conferred by God on all the humanity. The Quran states that Allah has honored the children of Adam and favored them specifically above many of those he has created. According to Quran, the difference in color and language among human beings are signs of Allah for wise people. The Quran also proclaims that human beings are created from a male and a female, and that God has made them into nation and tribe so that they know each other. The Quran also states that religious diversity is the result of the divine plan, and therefore no one should be forcefully compelled to change their faith. The Holy Quran maintains that Christians are closer in affection to the Muslims. Their slaughtered meat is halal for the Muslim, as they are called Ahl Kitab. So, on its face, untouchability and negative attitude towards Christians among Muslims seems strange and needs to be counter-checked through empirical data. Our objectives are to measure the extent of social interaction between Christian and Muslim at the neighborhood level, to examine potential hostility towards Christian neighbors among the Muslim community, to assess the threats faced by Christians from the majority community, to evaluate the perception of Christians as untouchable by the Muslims. Peshawar is the capital city of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, KP province, and is a home to a significant Christian population. Approximately 165,000 Christians reside in KP. Out of them, 60% belongs to various Protestant denominations and 40% identifying themselves as Catholic. According to the national survey conducted in 2017, presently 31,306 Christians among the total population of 7 million live in Peshawar city. Other estimates the current Christian population of Peshawar to be around 70,000. The Christians in Peshawar are mostly Punjabi, making them both a religious and ethnic minority in the city. They speak Punjabi, Urdu, and to some extent, local Pashto dialects, showcasing their inclination to embrace the local culture through their dress and custom. By neighborhood interaction, we meant the everyday and practical socialization and coexistence of Christian and Muslim in their shared neighborhood. The study attempts to find out how both communities perceive each other, how often they visit each other, if they celebrate festivities together, and do they help each other. A mixed method approach has been employed in this study. Hence, data were collected through questionnaire, interviews, and group discussions. The defined sample size for quantitative data was 384 respondents, out of which we analyzed 348 respondents. The format of the questionnaire was Likert type with 3 options. For qualitative analysis, semi-structured interviews were held with 10 persons, 5 Christian and 5 Muslims, including 6 notable religious scholars. Out of 6 religious scholars, 3 were Christian and 3 Muslims. Apart from the individual interviews, 3 group discussions were held only with the Christian respondents who were purposely selected. In group discussion, only Christian respondents who had routine interaction with their Muslim neighbors were included. The Muslim respondents were 170 and the Christian were 178, making 51% of the total sample for the questionnaire. The age was divided into 4 categories. Gender was divided into 2, male and female. The male respondent were 78%, while the female were 22%, which means that the male response is dominant in this study. You can see that table 1 points out that 68% of the Christian knew all Muslim neighbors, while 32% knew some of their Muslim neighbors. 58% Muslim reported that they knew all Christian neighbors, whereas 38 knew some of their Christian neighbors. Question 2 yielded positive responses from Christians as well as Muslims. Table 2 shows that 95% of Christians claimed that their Muslim neighbors greeted them frequently, while 3.9% asserted that their Muslim neighbors greeted them occasionally. Similarly, 90% of Muslims positively answered that their Christian neighbors greeted them frequently. Table 3 reveals that 72% of Christians were often wishing Eid or the festivity to their Muslim neighbors. Correspondingly, 41% of Muslims were often wishing Christmas to their Christian neighbors, indicating that they were not frequently wishing Christmas to their Christian neighbors. Regarding visiting each other's homes, table 4 shows that 42% of Christians often visited their Muslim neighbors' home, while 47% visited sometimes. On the other hand, table 4 further reveals that 16% of Muslims frequently visited their Christian neighbors' home, whereas 54% of Muslims sometimes visited their Christian neighbors' home. A common Christian interviewee said, "I often visit my Muslim neighbors. We are good friends, and the Muslim friends, sometimes invite me for a dinner." Table 5 indicates that 70.9% Muslims often invite their Christian neighbors in their marriage ceremonies. On the other hand, Muslims reported that 74% of their Christian neighbors often invite them in their marriage ceremonies. A Christian counselor of the Union Council commented in these words, "Our Muslim neighbors whom we know always invite us in their marriage ceremonies, and the same we do." Table 6 shows that 84% of Christians reported that they often attended their Muslim neighbors' funeral ceremonies, while 11% of Christians joined a few times. 72% Muslims often attended their Christian neighbors' funeral ceremonies. Question 7 was only asked from the Christian respondent as they are a minority. Table 7 shows that widely held 95% Christian felt safe in their Muslim neighborhood, while only 4% of Christians claim that they do not feel safe in their Muslim community. Now, after calculating all these tables, we calculated the overall interaction. Like all the positive responses were taken and calculated in order to find out the broad picture of Christian-Muslim neighborhood interaction. These quantification and calculation have been done. Interaction in the neighborhood based on the most positive responses of both groups is measured separately as well as collectively. Hence, positive neighborhood interaction of Christians with Muslim neighbors was calculated as 71%, while positive Muslim interaction with Christian neighbors found was 64%. By calculating all the positive responses of both communities, the average percent neighborhood interaction of Christian and Muslim was measured, which was 68%, above the average. As mentioned above, qualitative data was collected through group discussions and interviews. The Christian participants were asked questions such as what type of threat, if any, they feel from the Muslim community, which actions of the Muslim neighbors do they like or dislike the most, do they face any problem from the Muslim community, etc. Almost all the interviews answered that they had not received any threat nor faced any persecution or attack from the Muslim community. Similarly, nobody of the participants reported specific action of their Muslim neighbors or co-workers which they disliked. Virtually all the participants termed their Muslim neighbors as good and supportive fellows. A Christian counselor of the Union Council said, when a Christian has any tussle with any Muslim, Muslim neighbors stand in favor of the Christian if Muslim is found guilty. This is the best example of equality of our Muslim neighbors, which I like the most. That is what he said. All of the participants insisted that they had no problem with the Muslim community. Most respondents stated that they had never experienced any considerable problem with their Muslim neighbors. In addition, a closed-ended question was asked solely from the Christian respondent in the questionnaire whether they felt safe in the Muslim neighborhood. We also visited Jamia Ulum al-Islamiyya, which shares a boundary wall with St. Michael Catholic Church, the oldest Catholic church in the city of Peshawar. The orator of the Jamia commented in these words, on the occasion of every Eid, the church official come to Jamia, to the madrasa, to wish us Eid. They also bring sweets on every Eid. The madrasa and the church cooperate on different levels. As senior student of the madrasa said, when the church staff asks us for something, we provide them, and we also send them meat on the occasion of Eid al-Azha. Another mufti of the Jamia said that they had some legal issues to build a students' hostel in the Jamia. The Catholic Church priest and staff helped convince the government of KP to allow them to build a hostel. This is a strong indicator of cooperative coexistence between both institutions. Similarly, the Christian religious leaders were asked they knew about any clash, if they knew about any clash in Peshawar between Christians and Muslims. St. Michael Catholic Church priest replied in these words, according to my knowledge, no incident has occurred in which a Muslim crowd has attacked or persecuted any Christian in Peshawar. He added, the Christians are safe here because the government of KP gives more protection to minorities as compared to other provinces of the country. Another interview, the Bishop of KP narrated an incident that highlights the cordial relations between Muslim and Christian communities in Peshawar. When he said in these words, when All Saints Church was attacked by terrorists in September 2013, the surrounding Muslim neighbors sympathetically cooperated with the affected Christians. They excavated burial chambers for the deceased and provided food to the affected families continuously for 3 days. And when a prayer ceremony for the martyred was held in St. John Church, the oldest Protestant church in Peshawar, they arranged prepared food for the entire congregation. He commented in the following words: I visit different places of KB, but the Christian community has received neither any threat nor any attack from the Muslim community. The people who attack Christian and Muslim are anti-Pakistan element. In KP, very few conflict had occurred between Christian and Muslim, but those were remarkably resolved. Here, Muslim and Christian are socially closer to each other as compared to the other provinces. On the other hand, a Muslim Mufti of Jamia Ulum al-Islamiyya said, when the late Maulana Hassan Jan, a very prominent Muslim scholar of Peshawar, was martyred by terrorists, we received condolence letters from all the churches of Peshawar. Now, these tables are about the perception of untouchability by the Muslim. The result of table 1 clearly shows that most, in 61% of the Christian agreed that their Muslim neighbors never hated them due to their different religion. However, 36% of Christians complained that some Muslim neighbors hated them because of their faith. A similar response was received from the interviewees and group discussions with the participants. On the other hand, 95.9% of Muslims disagreed and insisted that they never hated their neighbors due to their different faith, and the interviewees also claimed the same. Thus, most Muslims did not admit that they hated their Christian neighbor. Table 3 reveals that 65.2% of Christians did not agree with the statement that their Muslim neighbors consider them untouchable, whereas 30% reported that some of their Muslim neighbors consider them untouchable. However, on the other hand, according to table 4, 86% of Muslims reported that they did not consider their Christian neighbors as untouchable. Table 5 indicates that the majority, that is 85% of Christians, insisted that their Muslim neighbors never avoided talking to them. On the other hand, the majority Muslims, 87%, also reported that their Christian neighbors never avoided talking to them. The Christian and Muslim interviewees claimed that instead of the word achut, an Urdu word for untouchable. In Urdu, we use this word achut for untouchable, which is a Hindu concept. The word chuda is rarely used in Peshawar. All the Christian interviewees also insisted that they had not received such labels from the Muslim of Peshawar. Muslim and Christian interviewees equally admitted that the word chuda is culturally used due to social status and profession, not because of any religion. Participants were asked about the meaning of achut, an Urdu word for the untouchable. Muslim participants did not know about the word achut and its meaning. However, the majority of Christians knew it. Participants agreed that in the Pashtun Muslim community, some people use the word chuda for those who work as a sanitarian. However, this word is used infrequently. As a senior Muslim orator commented, the word achut is not so common in KP. People use the word chuda for those people whose work is sanitary, whether the person is non-Muslim or a Muslim. Likewise, the traditional word used for a barber is nai, but now even the barber mind this word, which carries some derogatory meanings, and they insist that they should be called hujam or ustad. A Christian participant . who is also a clerk in a government office, said in these words, "I was born in Punjab and then my family migrated to Peshawar. I have lived here in Peshawar city for over 30 years, but never heard the word achud from any of my Muslim neighbors in Peshawar." Apart from this, there was a consensus among the participants that the word chuda implies a derogatory meaning, is used for sanitary work. And the word is not used very frequent in Peshawar, as the Bishop of KP said. The word chuda is very rare in Peshawar. Those Christians who think they should not be called chuda should struggle to upgrade their social status and educate their children, in the words of the Bishop. The result discussed above lead us to the conclusion that Christian-Muslim communities enjoy a peaceful coexistence in Peshawar city, and their social interaction is positive at the neighborhood level. They have been living together for a long time and face no problem from each other in running their routine lives. The absence of communal rights among Christian and Muslim of Peshawar also indicate their peaceful coexistence and positive social interaction with each other. It has been noted that some incidents of terrorist attacks against the Christian community took place in Peshawar. However, the matter of fact is that similar terrorist attacks by extremist groups took place against their Muslim neighbors as well. The problem of terrorism is related to several factors, which include, most importantly, the geopolitics of various regional and international stakeholders. This does not necessarily relate to the matter of coexistence of Christian and Muslim in Peshawar. The study found that most Christians do not consider their Christian neighbors untouchable, and most Christians agree that Muslims do not treat them as such. However, a considerable number, around 1/3 of the respondents, both Muslim and Christian, have indicated the use of the word chuda, which is a derogatory word for the cleaners. In the light of above discussion, we recommended that both Christian and Muslim communities of Pakistan need to promote the teachings of their respective religious traditions, which could help and support their peaceful and harmonious coexistence in the country. Both Christianity and Muslim uphold same social and moral values like justice, human dignity, and rights of neighbors, which are helpful to constructive and durable social interaction between different communities. The Ministry of Religious Affairs and Interfaith Harmony can play its role by establishing a forum for interfaith dialogue to promote mutual understanding among various religious communities of the country. The sanitary work should be mechanized so that the workers can perform their job without being physically polluted and exposed to unhygienic practices. Furthermore, the government of Pakistan should institutionally disassociate the employment of sanitary workers from any particular religious or ethnic group. That's all from my side. Thank you so much. Now it's open for questions.
Thank you very much. That's great.